Hello, I'm Simon. Welcome back to the workshop. Now in this video I'm going to be looking to see if I can improve the dust extraction on my Orbital sander. Let's get tinkering. This is a budget Von House Orbital sander. The main problems that I find with it really is it's pretty heavy and the dust extraction is pretty poor. It did come with a little bag that you clip on, but it kept popping off, so that wasn't very good. And the only way of connecting the hose to it is to do something with some insulation tape, which isn't great. So what I'm going to do today is I'll take this insulation tape off and see if I can make an adapter for the hose. Now if you look at this in a little bit more detail, we can see we've got a little section here to put a hose on, but it's actually quite small. When we look inside it, you can see that the actual hole for the hose to suck the air through is even smaller. Now, if I look at this hose that I have with my Henry Hoover, it's just completely incompatible with the outlet. Now unfortunately, I think it's actually slightly narrower here than the outside diameter here. I need to measure it, but that's what it feels like to me. I normally put it like that and then try and tape it in place. This here doesn't really offer a great deal of support either for the hose. So I need to think of a way that I can make this so that the hose gets as much support as possible so that it doesn't fall off when I'm using it, so that it's nice and secure. So what I'm going to do first is going to take some measurements of the inside and outside of the Hoover hose, and then the inside and the outside of the Orbital sander extraction port. So I use my digital calipers to take all the measurements and note them down on a pad. So this is my 3D printer, and I'm just printing out my first design, which I designed on Tinkercad, which is a website that's free to use for creating 3D models. This print's going to take about 3.5 hours to print out. My printer is a Creality CR10S. It's about 6 or 7 years old, I guess, maybe 10 years old, something like that. Never really had any problems with it. The odd thing I've had to replace, but that's just wear and tear. I wouldn't really call those problems. Now when you're designing stuff with a 3D printer, what I find is you design something, you try it, it doesn't quite work, but it gives you the clues that you need for how to alter something so that you can get it to work exactly as you want it to work. So don't expect this first iteration to work, but it'll be a stepping stone to a finished design that will work properly and do what I want it to do. So we're now about an hour and a half through, about halfway. I'm only really showing you this to give you an idea of how long it actually takes to 3D print stuff. And here's the first prototype. So this is my first attempt, and you can see this is far too loose in here, and actually it's a little bit tight in the Hoover. It does fit, but only just. Here's my second attempt. You can see that does fit in there quite nicely. It's maybe marginally loose, just by a tad, maybe 1/3 of a millimetre, but I can't see that there's not enough depth here to really hold it in place. The hose I got completely wrong and it's far too loose. It needs to be somewhere between these two sizes. I made this test piece up. This test piece holds this exit tube on both sides, and that fits really nicely. It's a friction fit, not too tight, but it doesn't wobble at all. So I'm going to make that the basis for this connection here, and then add onto it an end like this that's between these two pieces in width. So I made this one, but it's a little bit too loose, just another test piece to get the diameter correct. So I adjusted it, and this one to me is perfect. It goes in nicely, and it's a good friction fit without being too stiff. I'm going to keep it at that size. Here is my finished piece. You can see the inside, I've copied the shape of this one. So there's a recess so it grips it on the inside and the outside. And then I've just got a tube here. I've put a little chamfer on the end here so that it goes nicely into the vacuum cleaner. And whilst you can't see it, I've also put a chamfer on the inside. That should just aid the strength of the device. And it just pops on here like this. It's a pretty snug fit, which is what I want. Like so. And then this fits on there like that. And it's a very solid fit, which is exactly what I wanted. Well, I've been meaning to do this ever since I bought this Orbital sander a couple of years ago, and I've only just got round to it. This should make my workshop a little bit less dusty, and this fit I'm really pleased with. I hope you found the approach that I took to designing and building this part interesting, and hopefully it shows you the approach that I take to 3D printing when designing something for myself. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Got any comments or questions, leave them below, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.